What's up, guys? Justin here. Got another splurge I want to talk to you guys about regarding our real estate stuff. This one's more directed towards agents. There's been a couple updates that actually go into effect April 1st. They're actually, I think they're usable now, but our TREC overlord said after April 1st, that's the only contract that licensed salespersons are supposed to use moving forward. So if you're my brokerage, you guys better be watching this thing. If you guys are worth your salt and you're at some other brokerage, you probably should pay attention to this as well. There are some key changes, some extra disclosures. Most of it is because people keep getting into squabbles and troubles and lacking disclosures and not doing the right things when they're supposed to. And, TREC thought they got to dumb it down a little bit more so that people will continue to, to try to lower the percentages of incidents around those surrounding things. And actually, there's some emergence of technologies coming around, namely like your smart technology that's happening around the house. There's been some incidents where, and it's kind of creepy, where seller leaves their technology in the freaking house, and they got freaking cameras around the house. They close on the home, and they forget to just turn off their subscription, or someone never disconnects them, and they got some creepy footage, and it caused a whole bunch of situations. So much so that it was definitely needed to be articulated in the new next generation of this contract. So it's about time for that shit. Let's, I think this video, we probably need to get into a screen share so I can show you what the changes are. There's a version of the changes, of the requested changes, that it highlights exactly what needs to happen. From what I remember, I think it was like 7 paragraphs or something like that. Let's jump into that, and we'll walk you through that right now. So let's do that right now.
Only a few paragraphs. I'm going to try to burn through this as quickly as possible. I don't want to bore you guys. There is a really good link. I'll make sure to put this in the description. This shows you and highlights what they deleted, what they added to the new contract. As a reminder, this new contract is the 2015. That's how they mark it. And it'll actually tell you when they last published it. So that's the date, and at the bottom of every page you'll see the actual TREC number. So this is the 15th iteration. I believe that's what the best way to describe it. The best way to describe it. So let's jump into it. Blue is all the things they added. Red's all the things they deleted. Property, they're just adding property into the parentheses. Accessories, they talk about controls. This will get articulated further down in the contract in a few places. Controls include sellers' transferable rights to the software applications used to access and control improvements, accessories, and hardware used solely to control improvements and or accessories. This is related to some of the new tech that's coming out. Let's talk about it further down in the contract. Paragraph 4, this is kind of important. This used to be the license holder disclosure. So let me show you on the right hand side. This is the old contract. This is the new contract. So paragraph 4 used to be the license holder disclosure. They moved that to a different section. 2015, or in the 2015 contract, they've now created this as the leases section. People screwed up on it enough times that they had to articulate it a little bit more. It's not just talking about residential leases, and it's talking about any kind of leases. Mineral rights is a very notable one. Residential leases, fixture leases, this is kind of related to this controls crap. These Nest, there's so many kind of like these Internet of Things, these IoT subscriptions. And I believe there was a situation where somebody had, this internet service where they had the webcams in the house and they never turned off the subscription. and the new buyers bought the house and the sellers never turned it off, and they had access to some very sensitive and um, maybe embarrassing videos of the buyers, and it turned into a situation that nobody wants to be involved with, and TREC thought it was a good idea that they included in the lease. Let's just put it like that. Okay, so residential leases, we talked about that. This used to be in a section further down in the old contract. Fixture leases, just talked about it. Natural resource lease, I'm actually in a situation where I'm trying to close on a property and the mineral rights were leased out to ExxonMobil 30, 40 years ago. And if I was buying from a normal seller, I was buying a foreclosure, but they banks and REO companies think they're special a lot of times, and they want to try to not use the TREC contract. It's really good that TREC does a good job to try to be neutral. You want to try to use a TREC contract whenever you can. If I was using a TREC contract, the new TREC contract, I would have ideally been disclosed that there were these natural resource leases. This articulates, at least gives an opportunity for the seller to disclose that there are natural resource lease, and that in my situation, I didn't have any rights to the mineral rights to the property that I was trying to purchase. Let's keep going. License holder disclosure, I was just telling you guys that got deleted. Here's let me go on to the right. That's what it used to look like. So that's moved further down in the contract. Paragraph 5 also got modified pretty heavily. Paragraph 5 used to be just earnest money. Now the option period paragraph got combined with the earnest money. So enough people screwed this up that they're just trying to dumb this section down as much as possible, and they're telling you guys, all right, option period, earnest money, they're not the same thing, but you now, in the new contract, they're all going to the title company and they're going to manage it for you guys, because enough of you guys screwed it up and created enough of a hullabaloo for everybody that this is how it's going to be moving forward. So this is kind of important, agents. So pay attention to this. It's all following similar conventions. Got to be sent within 3 days. You get like the situation where if the last day is on a Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday, it automatically goes to the next regular business day for the most part. If you don't turn it in time, you basically are in default. So get your option money and earnest money. You can turn them in separately. Get them into the title company as quickly as possible. Okay. So this whole section replaces the old earnest money paragraph, and that's, look how short it used to be. Mind you, it's combining the option period section 2, which is it's kind of lengthy, but even together it's still even more. But let's keep going. Everything looks the same. Yada yada yada. Let's keep going. Brokers and sales agents. So this actually is where they moved the old licensure disclosure to paragraph 8, in addition to making the disclosure that this contract has nothing to do with the commission obligations between the listing broker and the buyer's broker. Okay, so people screwed up on that crap all the time, but we can talk about it further down. They make some extra disclosures further down in the updated contract, but let's get to it later. Possession is still the same. You get the options between closing and funding and according to a residential lease. They delete this leases paragraph. Let's go to, let's try to find it. So this leases, so if you look, so I'm on the old contract here. This is the leases paragraph. If we look at the new contract of paragraph 10, let's try to find it. Leases is completely deleted. So this has all actually been deleted. That's actually slightly different than this draft that was created in October of last year. This is actually the November iteration This is the final version. So all of the leases paragraph has been completely removed. This is extra language about the smart devices. If it's not getting assigned, you need to remove it and terminate any subscriptions that you have. That's what that stuff is saying. I don't know what to tell you guys. If you have any subscriptions on the house, turn them off, move on, get your fixtures out of there if they're not getting assigned to the new owners. Paragraph 18, escrow. This section, let's read this real quick. Escrow agent may require disbursement made in connection with this contract to be conditioned. So this is actually the special language here, meaning the title company can condition dispersing the funds for any reason, specifically depending on, not for any reason, but if the funds don't come in an acceptable manner. So like if you turn in, if the escrow funds, the earnest money, and the option fee comes in a regular check, they can withhold dispersing the funds because it didn't come in an acceptable manner to the title company. Okay? Most title companies will require you to turn in your funds in either cashier's check or money order. And so that's what that's kind of getting at right there. Paragraph 18b, this is just kind of expanding the authority and rights of what the title company can do. Authorized expenses, it's just expanding what they can do to the earnest money, and if they have to deduct funds or change or do anything and adjust the amounts that need to be dispersed to whoever, they can do so. Paragraph 21, that's obviously self-explanatory. Paragraph 22, these are actually two new addendums. We can talk about those at a later date. The old paragraph 23 has been deleted, and going back to what I was telling you guys about earlier, that's 2015. Old paragraph 23 was the termination option paragraph. That all has been combined where the earnest money was, so this is no longer needed. This is now the new paragraph 23, and this is actually the last paragraph I wanted to talk to you guys about. If I need to reiterate to you guys for the millionth time, this contract it's not proof that you guys are supposed to be paid X% or whatnot. Okay? So on the old contract, so I'm looking on 2014 on the right side, there was this nice little disclosure. Honestly, it was just a courtesy for agents to try to remind the listing broker that they're supposed to be paid X% or some flat fee to the cooperating broker. They reworded it, if you can look over here, to reemphasize that it's just a disclosure. Disclosure pursuant to a previous separate agreement, such as MLS offer of compensation or other agreement between brokers. Listing broker has agreed to pay the other broker a fee of blank. This disclosure here is not an enforceable clause. If you're part of the MLS, and if both parties are a part of the MLS, the local board, where the transaction or the property was posted in, that MLS listing is part of the broker to broker agreement, because we're all part of the board of realtors of that local association. We all agree that we're supposed to pay each other whatever we advertise in the MLS listing. If you're not a part of the board of realtors of that local association, there is no broker to broker agreement in place. And I try to remind my people, if you're trying to do a transaction in a board that we're not affiliated with, there's no broker to broker agreement in place. And you honestly, like, if you're trying to show the property, prior to showing the property is when you probably need to get the broker to broker, a separate broker to broker agreement in place. Otherwise, this is not enforceable. This is just a courtesy. And so they're not obligated to pay you guys. And I think that's it, y'all. Those are the changes. The biggest ones are, if I'm trying to review this real quickly, the leases section, they combine earnest money and option period. They're adding this language about some of the new internet technology and the cameras and recording equipment that are Nest cams, and that's in these new homes nowadays. It's pretty straightforward. They're moving things around. They rearranged it to try to make some more sense in this new business. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. This is Justin Martinez. I'm the broker for Texas Ally, and yeah, have a good evening.